Hello my dear students, welcome to the MS Science Academy. Myself Meenu Srivastav, and today we are going to discuss about the anatomy physiology. This is the new subject which we are going to start, and in this subject we will cover all the medical and the paramedical anatomy physiology part. Okay, so today we are going to start the basic terminology which are very much essential to know about the anatomy and physiology. So the topic name is the Introduction to Anatomical Terms, Organization of Human Body, or basic anatomical terminology. This anatomy and physiology subject, we will cover all the medical and paramedical sciences like B.Pharm, BSc Nursing, DNM, all the anatomy physiology part we will just study. Okay. Before going to start the terminology, we want that what is the anatomy? Anatomy is the science of the body structure and relationship among them. Okay, so anatomy is the structure of our body, and what are the relation between these body structures, it comes under the anatomy. Second, that is the physiology. In the physiology we will study about the body functioning. Suppose that we will study the physiology of ear, it means we want to study that how our ear help us to listen any sound. Okay, so here it's the science of body function. Okay, so we will study in the physiology about the body functions. Now, the anatomical position. What is the anatomical position? The anatomical position is that position in which we want to study some specific or particular body part. Description. Here I have written the definition. Description of any region or part of the human body. Assume that it is in a specific stance called the anatomical position. AP means anatomical position. Okay, so anatomical position, during the anatomical position we will discuss about the particular part of the any person or the subject. Okay, in anatomical anatomical position subject means if you want to study about any anatomical position of a particular person, or we can say subject, that it stand erect. It should be stand erect. Second, the facing observer. Okay, so here you will see that this is the basic anatomical position. Okay, here you can see the body stands erect. Second, it will face the observer, and the eyes facing forward, and body is upright. Okay. Now second, if we want to discuss about in the lying position, okay, so anatomical position we will describe in the two types. First is the prone position, and second is the supine position. In the prone position, as you have seen in this diagram, that in the prone position the body is lying down and the face is down. The body is lying and face is down. This is the prone position. Okay, the body is lying and the face is down. In the supine position, here you can see that the body is lying and face is upward. Okay, body is lying and face is up. That is the supine position. Now we want to discuss about the regional names. Okay, so according to our anatomy, the body is discussed, or body is divided into following parts: head, neck, trunk, upper limb and lower limb. Now the head is divided into skull and face. Skull here which protect the brain, and face, in this face we will include eyes, nose, mouth, forehead, cheek and chin. Now the function of neck is that which support the head and attaches it to the trunk. What is the trunk? In the trunk we will include the chest region, abdominal region and pelvic region. Pelvic region means hips region. Okay, now this is the upper limb. Next part, that is the upper limb. Upper limb means both hand. So here upper limb attaches to the trunk. Upper limb attaches to the trunk with the help of this shoulder. So attaches to the trunk, and it consists of shoulder. Here is the shoulder, armpit. Here is the armpit. Now third one is the arm. Okay, in the third one is the arm. The arm region start from the shoulder and elbow. Okay, from shoulder to the elbow. Now the forearm, elbow to the wrist, forearm, the elbow to the wrist, okay, and wrist and hand, okay. Now next one is the lower limb. Lower limb is our leg system, okay. From lower limb attaches to the trunk through the pelvic region, okay. It consists of bullock. Bullock means the hips region, okay, means bullock we can say it's a region above the thigh, okay. So bullock to the knee, okay, bullock to the knee, this is the thigh region, and leg, knee to ankle, leg region is knee to ankle, okay, and ankle and foot, this is the lower limb, okay. Now we will discuss about some terminologies in, we can say, the Latin terminologies. Why the necessity of the Latin terminology? As you will study the anatomy physiology in future, that you will see that if we want to say neck, that in the anatomy we will not say the neck directly, we will say the cervical region. If we want to say that the armpit, that we will not say the directly armpit, we will say the axillary region, okay. So these are some Latin terminology that we will introduce and that we will study, so that we can easily understand our anatomy physiology subject. So now we will discuss about some Latin terminologies. Now come to the Latin terminologies which we are going to study in the anatomy and physiology, okay. So here the head is known as the cephalic, okay. Skull is known as the cranial, face, facial, forehead, frontal, eye, orbital, ear, otic, cheek, buccal, nose, nasal, mouth, oral, chin, mental, neck, cervical, okay, neck region, cervical region, armpit, axillary, breastbone, that is the sternal, okay, breastbone, it's a rib bone, okay, arm, brachial, front of the elbow, it's antecubital, okay, chest, thoracic, breast, mammary, arm, brachial, okay, arm I have written 2 times, okay. Now hip, coxal, navel point, that is the umbilical, groin region, that is the inguinal, groin region, it's just where the thighs start, that region is known as where the crease, it's just a crease like structure is formed, that is the inguinal region, okay. Forearm, that is the antebrachial, wrist, carpal, palm, palmar, finger, digital or phalangeal, hand, it's a manual, complete hand, that is the manual, thigh, femoral, okay. Anterior surface of knee, anterior means front surface of knee, means your leg is in the front side, and that front surface of the knee is patella region, patella, we can say patella region or the patella, okay. Now the leg, crural, ankle, tarsal, toes, digital or phalanges, top of the foot, there if the foot is like that, the top of the foot is dorsum, okay. So these are the anterior view terminologies. Now come to the posterior view. Base of the skull, that region is occipital, shoulder, acromial, shoulder blade, here the shoulder blades, okay. So shoulder blades is scapular region, okay. Now the spinal column, it's a vertebra or vertebral, back of the elbow, back of the elbow, olecranal, back of the hand, dorsum, loin, it's a lumbar. What is the loin region? The loin region is below the abdomen and the thigh, means the region between the abdomen and the thigh, it's a loin region, and that is the lumbar, okay. Between hips, that region is sacral, buttock, gluteal region. Okay, buttock, that is the gluteal region. Hollow behind, that is the hollow behind knee. Okay, hollow behind knee means the back side of the hole, or we can say the space, that surface, the space that is known as the popliteal. Okay, and the calf, okay, that is the sural. Okay, now sole, that is the planitor. Okay, heel, that is the calcaneal. Okay, so these are the posterior view. Now come to the some directional terminologies, so that we can study more easily our anatomy and physiology. Now come to the directional terms. Okay, so directional terms used to locate the particular organ or particular surface of the body. First is the superior. The superior is also named as the cephalic or the cranial. What is the superior means? Superior means on the super side, okay, on the above side. So these that superior side or the superior organ, it's towards the head or the upper part of the structure. Okay, for example, head is the superior to the liver, as the head is superior as compared to the liver. So, or we can say the neck, head is superior to the neck. So means the superior means above. Okay, now inferior means caudal, means towards the feet or away from the head. Okay, so inferior means downside, or we can say below, or we can say it's towards the feet side. Okay, so stomach is an inferior to the lung. Stomach, as we know that the stomach is inferior or downside as compared to the lung, so we can say stomach is an inferior to the lungs. Anterior, also named as ventral, nearer to the front. Okay, anterior side, this is the anterior side. So the organ which is located the anterior side is the front side. Example like sternum, anterior to the heart. Okay, so as compared to the heart, we know that the heart is the back position and sternum is the anterior position. So sternum is anterior to the heart, means at the ventral side. Next one is the posterior. Posterior means dorsal, means back side. Okay, nearer to the back of the body. Esophagus is posterior to the trachea, as we know that the two pipelines from the pharynx. Okay, so esophagus is posterior. Esophagus is posterior to the trachea. Okay, so here this is the another example of deep. Okay, so here the posterior means dorsal. Okay, now come to the medial. Medial means midline, nearer to the midline. Okay, for example, ulna is the medial to radius. Okay, here humerus and the radius and ulna. So ulna is present just median line of the radius. Okay, next one is the lateral. Lateral means just away from the midline. This is the midline, so away from the midline, so it's farther from the midline. For example, lungs are lateral to the heart. Okay, heart is present in the left side and both lungs are present lateral as compared to the heart. Next is the intermediate. Intermediate means between two structures. For example, transverse colon, as the transverse colon is this, is present intermediate of ascending and descending colon. This is the transverse colon. Transverse colon is intermediate. Transverse colon is intermediate between ascending and descending colon. Okay, so intermediate means between two structures. Now the proximal. Proximal means the nearer to the attachment. Okay, for example, that the shoulder is proximal to the shoulder bone or the collar bone. Okay, nearer to the attachment. We can say the humerus is proximal to the trunk. Okay, or example, humerus is proximal to radius. Radius, here is this bone is present, so humerus is proximal to the radius. Distal. Distal means farther away. Okay, farther from the attachment. Okay, so here the phalanges are distal to the carpal. the carpal here, the phalanges are distal to the carpal, or the phalanges or the carpal are the distal to the humerus. Okay, the phalanges are, we can say also write the other example is that the phalanges are distal to the humerus. We can say it's a humerus, also you can write the humerus. Okay. Next is the superficial. Superficial means towards the surface. Okay. For example, ribs are superficial to the lungs. Lungs, as we know, the lungs are just lungs are present. Okay. So here the superficial means on the above side. So ribs as we know is the trunk are thoracic region. So ribs are the superficial to the lungs. Deep means the away from the surface. Okay, means the particular organ is present deep inside. Okay, for example, ribs are deep to the skin. Okay, so ribs are present, or we can say bone is deep to the skin. Okay, these are the basic terminologies. In the next video we will discuss about some other terminologies, so that we can complete understand which terminologies which we are going to help our anatomy and physiology. If you like this video, kindly share, please like, share and subscribe. Thank you.